I think most of us set goals every year without really stopping to reflect on how the last year actually went. And so before 2026, I kind of took the opportunity to look back on 2025 and see how I did and reflect on my goals that I set and see how I did on them. So I'm Kade. I'm a fresh college graduate. I graduated probably 7 months ago. And so early 20s. I'm just trying to live a life a little bit more intentionally this year and share my thoughts and experiences with people that are kind of in a similar stage of life as me. So in this video, I'm going to kind of walk you through what I did to review my goals in 2025 and kind of how I look at it, what I learned, and how it's going to shape my goals for 2026. And so first things first, I kind of just wanted to sit and reflect on everything that I experienced in 2025. That's the first step. And if you journal like I do, it's kind of a good chance to kind of flip back, see what all you journaled that week, and kind of just reflect what happened in each little month. Like January, it's a year away now, January 2025, so there's a lot that could have happened since between now and then that you really don't even remember. And when you kind of take this chance and look back, you can really acknowledge what all you accomplished, whether you achieved your goals or not. And it's just a good reset to kind of not be hard on yourself and be honest with yourself and say, well, at the end of the year, did I have a good year? And kind of how would I view it? So for me, I experienced a lot of change. So like I said, I graduated college in 2025. I did my senior design project. I got married in December. So I accepted my first full-time job. I made a lot of friends. And whenever I sat down and actually wrote all that happened in 2025, I couldn't help but be grateful to God for everything that had happened to me. And I went to so many new places, moved to a new city, started my new job, and it was just absolutely insane. So this practice really helped me kind of get in the right mindset for shaping my 2026 goals, kind of reviewing what actually happened that was good for me. And you actually probably did a lot more than you give yourself credit for whenever you're just looking at your goals and saying, did I achieve them or not? So this was a great first step for me. And so the next thing that I wanted to get into whenever I was journaling and planning and reviewing my 2025 was just review each one of your old goals honestly. So don't be ashamed, obviously don't lie, and don't make any excuses. You either achieved them or you didn't. And so now that we had that first step out of the way, now we can actually be hard on ourselves. So the next thing I want to do is review each one of my goals honestly. And the goal here is to don't be ashamed, don't lie to yourself, and try not to make any excuses. Just be objective. And so you either achieved them or you didn't, and that's okay. So looking at 2025, I had a lot of goals that I actually didn't achieve, but overall I'm still pretty happy with myself because I established a good baseline and some good self-discipline practices. And so to me, like I learned losing 20 pounds wasn't nearly as important as I thought it was. I wanted to be 180 pounds. I was only 193. But like I said, I had a lot of life changes in 2025. And overall, I was pretty proud of myself with my calorie tracking and my obviously going to the gym 6 times a week. It was something that's pretty much a routine in my life to this point, which I'm really proud of. And then I like to just go through each of those goals, write down why or why not it wasn't achieved. So for example, one thing I wanted to do this year was read a book every month. So 12 books for the year, which is very realistic and very achievable. But it's something that I didn't do. I only read 9 this year. And so why did I only read 9? Honestly, for the whole second half of the year, I was pretty much reading the same book. It was about the time I started my job in July. I was reading, what was the book that I was reading that I just could not get through? Oh, it was Anti-Fragile. I had one of my professors that actually recommended it to me. So I started reading it. It was just so hard to get through. And I just forced myself to finish that book, even though I didn't really like it or care for it or love the writing style. I think it had good principles in it. But so going into 2026, I'm going to not force myself to read through books if I don't like it. I'm just going to put it down and pick up a new one. And so that really messed up my goal, obviously. And so I learned from it. And so that's a huge thing. And I really wasn't being disciplined with myself whenever I was starting the new job. So this year, now going into 2026, I'm being really proactive in reading a book every night before I go to bed, whether it's just 5 pages. That's my goal, just to have that consistent cadence. And so the goal here with this, just with reviewing each one of your goals, is to not really beat yourself up. It's just to understand yourself better and how you can improve, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So the third thing I like to do after going through each result, just reflect and really write down in your journal or iPad, whatever you like to use, just how each result of that goal makes you feel. So if you succeeded, does it make you feel as good as you thought it would? If you failed, does it actually really impact your life, and do you really feel guilty about it? And you'll probably realize that some achieved goals don't actually make you happier, and some of those missed goals don't bother you at all. I know I didn't reach my weight loss goal of 190 this year, but I did reach an all-time low at 193 pounds, and I was really proud of the way I looked, and I was doing that throughout all those changes, throughout getting a full-time job. I was 193 pounds in September, and then I went on a bunch of work trips, and I actually did a lot of travel, was gearing up for the wedding, and so I kind of was slacking on my diet after that, but I was really proud of what I did, and I can carry that momentum into 2026 on a new calorie deficit. And I just really learned a lot about myself, and again, set up a lot of self-discipline, and I wasn't really disappointed with the results of that. So I like to go through this exercise because you can learn a lot about what actually matters to you, because you're not the same person in 2026 that you were in 2025, and you're not going to be the same person next year whenever you're setting your goals for 2026. And that's really all that life is about, is what matters to you in that moment and how you can learn and grow from it. So doing what you love and eliminating the rest. So finally, the last thing I kind of like to do is to write a one word or one sentence kind of thesis for the year. Basically how I'd summarize 2025 if I look back from years from now. Going into 2025, this is what I like to do when I set goals. I wanted it to be a year of discipline and self-control. And honestly, that didn't fully happen because, I didn't really achieve all of my goals. I missed the simple ones, like reading 12 books. And I wasn't nearly as consistent as I expected to be. But looking back now, I don't think 2025 was really about discipline. That was the goal. But for me, it was a year of foundation building, I learned a lot about myself. I started my career. I started my marriage. I made a lot of new relationships. And I kept the most important things, like God and my health and my family, at the center while everything else was changing around me. So I'm really proud of that. And I think that's what matters, especially at this stage of life, young in your 20s. Not every year is about pushing yourself as hard as you can. Some years can just be about setting the standard. So that way future goals can actually have something to stand on. And so that's what I'm really proud of for 2025. So I would say if you're setting new goals soon, I really encourage you to try this method out first, like actually reflecting on 2025, going through your journal if you journal, and kind of just looking at your calendar and saying, all right, what actually happened in 2025? How do I feel about what I did, and how can I push myself into 2026, and what's actually important to me right now? I think that's something that we really lack in today's day and age, is just self-reflection. We're so caught up in the media and constantly distracted and stimulated. We don't actually have a chance to sit back with ourselves and actually acknowledge how we're feeling at the time. So being honest with yourself right now where you are is the only way to grow in the right direction. And in the next video, I would like to share how I'm going to how I set my goals for 2026, using everything that I learned from this practice and this reflection for 2025. Thank you all for being here.